Hello everyone, welcome to another rapid speedrun episode against Hormone, rated 1481. Let's see how he handles e4. Lots of different ways you can start the game as black. But maybe he's checking my profile, making sure I'm a real human, and then he'll make his move. Garo Khan, French, e5, inviting the King's Gambit, and we welcome that, of course, as this is our speedrun. And we're excited to explore a weird opening where we weaken our king. He takes. We're more than happy to develop our knight to h4. I mean to f3, stopping queen h4. And imbalancing the game right away. Because he's up a pawn. And here we go, d5. So we get this. I wanted someone to play this or g5. So he plays this, and now our pawn's under attack. We're going to trade pawns of equal strength and try to lure his queen forward a little bit. Now that it's forward, similar to the Scandinavian, we're going to get a free tempo on the queen with a developing move. And all the normal King's Gambit stuff. We want to develop our bishop, put our pawn on d4, take back our pawn, and castle. Right, in some order. So d5 is a theoretical move, as is you could take with the queen, but I think there was another move he's supposed to do, but I don't remember. Anyway, he goes back home. So this is kind of like a Scandinavian, where he goes back, except there's a weird pawn on f4. It's a little bit different. It's not the same, but it resembles it. So we're going to go d4 and just threaten to take our pawn back with some lead in development. So he protects his pawn and develops his bishop, which makes sense. Now there are moves which hunt that bishop, but I want to build up my position first before I go for anything like that. So I'm going to develop my bishop to this beautiful diagonal targeting f7 and prepare castling right away. If he gives us this check, which is somewhat interesting, I mean, you could definitely play knight e2, which lets you castle and then the pawn would be hanging. I'm just curious, is king f2 a possibility? Or is that insane? Okay, we don't have to worry about that because he just brings out his knight. He just brings out his knight. He's ready to castle. Solid enough. But he also doesn't have a pawn presence in the center, which means I kind of have a lot of freedom to do what I want in the center. I have very nice control over it. Now it's time to castle. And we have a really nice position. We're temporarily down a pawn. The F pawn that we gambited. He castles, and now let's see how we play down a pawn. It's interesting to ask him if he's gonna try to keep this pawn. He can't actually really keep it long term. I feel like we have way too many resources. Thing is, I don't want to trade queens. So if you jump your knight in and he takes and you take, he could trade queens. I mean, we do have a lead in activity there, but I'd like to keep the queens on the board if possible. I wonder if queen e1 is a move to swing it out. Or maybe that's too fancy. Let me think. Well, what does he want to do? If he wants to develop, he's going to go here. Pressure this pawn. Fine. His bishop. Maybe it goes for the pin. Or to f5. Maybe I should attack the pawn immediately. I'm thinking queen e1 or attack the pawn immediately. Maybe we should go knight back voluntarily. We're going to play c3 to solidify our pawn chain and try to shuffle that king over towards the king side and win our pawn. If he tries to keep the pawn, he has to go something like knight h5, which is somewhat suspicious. I'm going to go queen e1 though. I don't want to move my knight backwards. I don't really care about his pawn. I mean, I'll take it if I can, but I don't want to contort myself. I mean, knight e2 is a good move either way. That's why I was thinking about it. Like it's a common move you would make in, let's say, the French, and then play c3. It makes a lot of sense. So he moves his rook over, which is natural. But it does undefend this a little bit. So he has to be a tad careful. But for right now, our queen is hit. But now we get to move it to where we wanted, which was h4. We avoid any of these types of queen trades, and we're threatening the pawn. Now he can try to queen trade through this diagonal by moving his knight, but we can avoid it. We can drop back to f2. And f2 is kind of a nice, cool, safe square that still coordinates nicely. But we'll see what he does. We shall see. I prefer white, even though white's down a pawn. I feel like this bishop, this knight, this queen, and this rook, I mean, it's all going to cause practical problems, I feel like. I'm not sure black's going to be able to solve all of them. I mean, he's totally fine. But just watch how the game progresses. He has a couple of natural, obvious moves, like you still have to develop your minor pieces, so that's obvious. You know, like bring your knight out, develop your bishop somewhere. Okay, I thought it was obvious. Okay, this goes for the queen trade, so it does have a purpose. I wonder. I wonder. Can I take this? If he takes me, there's two different lines. You can calculate queen to h7, just getting a second pawn, and his king is kind of in a weird spot. Or here, check. King goes back. No, king goes. Where does king go? Here? I'm gonna sack my bishop. I like this. We have the rook here. I mean, we have pieces ready to hop in. Maybe you could take this pawn with your queen, but I like knight g5 as it brings in another coordinating piece with check, blocks the queen trade. So even if I don't move my queen next, he still can't queen trade, right? So it saves that while getting a piece in the attack, and reopens the attack here that the knight blocked because the queen no longer coordinates here with the bishop, but now the rook does. Plus, where does he go, right? Because this is happening if he goes back. So currently he's up. We took the pawn that we were down, but then he took the bishop. So he's up an entire bishop. We have nothing, no pawns for it. Strictly his king safety as compensation. An attack on his king, rather, due to his king safety. Like his king can be in the middle of the board in a terrible spot, but if you don't have any pieces, wow, he resigns. Wow. I expect him to at least make a move, but if you think about it, if he goes to the left, he's walking into discoveries, maybe some rook checks. Maybe it works though, like maybe you can. He was also walking into knight jumps though, so you probably can't. If he goes back, he's getting hit with check, check, something like this. Maybe even sack a rook. Who knows? Knight's coming. Devastation. Anyway, let's go over this game. And you can see how the king's gambit development culminated into a sacrifice on the f7 square. That was nice. So, King's Gambit, development, center, prophylaxis. Force move, and it makes sense. Even trade. Development and center for free. Center and development for free. Development, center, king safety. King safety and development. Okay, they say this is my one mistake of the game because it's a weird move that, it felt weird when I made it. It's kind of slow. They do want the queen trade line that I was specifically trying to avoid. Like my first instinct was what the engine is saying is the best move, which was knight e5. But I said in the video, if I go here, he's gonna take. We take queen trade line. We take. He moves his knight somewhere. We take back our pawn. I said, and we have nice development there, but I just want to play with the queens on the board. So I specifically didn't play that move and chose an alternative, which is fine. He attacks it, which is natural. We go straight to h4. It's a completely even game until this move. And all of a sudden, he's losing, completely losing. Wow, I didn't realize it was like this with anything. So bishop takes f7 is second best at +3. Third best is just trading the queens at +3. And knight g5 threatening mate and this square at +4. So we did knight g5 next. So we just switched up the move order because if you go knight g5 first, your next move is bishop takes f7. So like once he moves his king and prevents mate. So it's all the same stuff. I'm just curious about the queen trade. We get a queen. He gets a queen. Now we threaten this square. He tries to protect it. Maybe. We get our pawn back. Let's say he trades because he wants to get stuff off the board. Well, this square is toast. And this is +4. So material's even. But totally, see, this is what is not entirely, like obviously white's better. We're going to take this pawn, but +4 is a crazy evaluation. So, and now +3. So you make a natural move, becomes +3. Yeah, you could definitely mess this up. Like if you just do a natural move like, oh, take, now it's +2. And so you can easily see why that +4 is like perfect engine play. And it's not entirely obvious to me. You make a couple natural moves, it can easily be a lot less because you're not actually up anything. You give him just one or two turns to consolidate his position. It'll go to zeros. Not zeros because you're going to always have the pawn, but still. Anyway, that was a pretty short one. So, wait, did I even finish going through the moves? He moves here, we go queen h4, he blunders. No, I didn't. We do the sack, he takes, and boom. Genius move, because where does he go? He has to try f8, because you can't go left and you can't go right. And then we just take our pawn back and open the discovery, and he would resign there. So, good luck in your chess. Submit your rapid games in my Discord. And sometimes don't be like me and force the queens on the board, because sometimes the best line is to go down the trade. But you can definitely choose to play with them on the board if you like. Good luck and goodbye.